All right, I'm super excited to talk about I Have Met Miss Jones. Is the TMEA, the Texas All-State Jazz process, audition process. It's at the very end of your packet. It's the All-State Improv Etude, right after the B-flat blues. So this is I Have Met Miss Jones. So before I get started here in a moment, and I'm just going to solo over the tune just to get started, but there are very important prerequisites to be able to follow along with this video in the format that I've chosen to do. So you'll need to download those. Those are in the description. So I'll delve into that later. Let me go ahead and get started. This is just a drum track, swing track I found on YouTube, and I've slowed it down to, I got 150. So, you know, it says the track is actually quarter note equals 186. So I want to practice the tune slower at first. Okay? 1, 2, here's the 4-bar intro. 1, 2, it's important to know about that. And here's letter A. Alright, that's a really fun tune to play over. So I've been thinking through all of these different study materials from the packet. We've got study number 1 all the way through study number 8 that you'll be able to follow along. I regret at this time of the release of this video, just available for B-flat instruments, mainly because I'm handwriting all of this for my students at Pass School. I wanted to share with everybody. So B-flat instruments, so tenor, saxophone, and trumpet. So that'll be the lingo being used, that'll be the music you're looking at, but it's the same thing for all instruments. You can just transpose for now for your instrument, but I'll make those available as soon as I can. So just wanted to make sure the materials are out there. The reason why that's important is I'm going to be speaking, you know, like to tenor players, trumpet players, you know, during this video, just to make it simpler in my head. So, 4-bar intro, we have Mr. Stockton Helbing, the arranger on this. He's awesome. He's indicated like there's an intro. Then after 4 bars, it says solo section. Then there's the letter A, and that's a measure. I'm going to be able to use this music here. Measure 5, you know. And then second A is measure 13. Got to think through as you're doing this, you know, how many measures is the form? You got 8 bars followed by 8 more. And then you flip it over, and then you're at the B section. Labeled B is a circle, and then we've got, and that's the bridge, B for bridge. That's also 8 measures, and then the last A, another 8 measures, with the exception of the second ending. But it's basically, that's just to get to the fermata and to hold, you know, kind of thing. So it's like you still would have one more measure, really. It's the same kind of thing. So you have the form, which is AABA, 32 bars is this tune. So you got 8, 8, 8, 8. Math. All right, so note at the bottom of study number 1, it says the focus points. There's 4 of them. First one is form. You know, to know when you're going to the bridge, to navigate the chords. most important thing to say about this piece of music is it's not easy, but with hard work and dedication, you internalize it, and you've got to practice it by understanding the chord relationships. So that's basically what this is a study in that. The second and third points on here are, we're only focusing on 2 2-5-1s in this etude. The A minor to D7 to G major. Like I said, I'm speaking in tenor pitch. So that's really G, C, F concert, right? You know, G minor to C7 to F. The best thing that you have going for you here is you've got all the chords laid out. And if you think like a bass player, that's something I didn't indicate in this packet, but it's worth saying out loud. You know, first thing that you should do before doing any of this is to outline where you're at in the music with just roots. I'll go ahead and kind of demonstrate that for now with this track. So I'll use this. So we got 4-bar intro. And practice using that. Think in your head. You got 4 bars up top. Here's measure 5. So you kind of get the point. Another way a bass player thinks isn't just the root, but you know, to walk the chord to get to the next downbeat, right? The next chord. So if there's 2 chords per measure, that's a half note, right? Half note movement. If there's 1 chord in a measure, that's, you can think in quarter note movement, I guess you could say, or it's just one, you know, whole note. So it's just that chord. Starting in measure 5. So just outlining that so you can kind of hear that. I think that's really important. Next thing you could do is you could try to figure out the third of every chord. But you'd have to practice this really slow. 150 may be too fast. So anyways, let me try it. So I'm going to try to just play, if it's just 1 chord in the measure, I'm going to try to just play the 1 and the 3. But for everything else, I'm going to play the root. 1, 2, here's the 4-bar intro, ready, and rest. 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Here we go. This is measure 5, 2, 3. And that gets us to the bridge, the B section. Okay, so now to the study material. So, you know, thinking like a bass player, right? I've noticed the star that I've indicated. That's the D minor to G7 to C major 2-5-1. And the only reason I put a star there is it's different than the other one. So this whole exercise is either in quarter notes or it's in eighth notes. But then the D minor to G7 is in quarter notes. So at this point in time, it's not really important for you to know what that is, but just know that it arpeggiates the chord up, you know, the A minor, and then the D7, and it goes down. So there's a name for these kinds of exercises, like 3 ways in, 2 ways out kind of thing. In other words, you're navigating the chords. But that's not, like I said, that's not important right now. The important thing is to, you know, major prerequisite for this is to kind of like see if you can play it at 150 with you know, thinking about the roots of everything like a bass player, and then go ahead and add the third of the chord. So if it's a G chord, that'd be a B, right? G minor, that'd be a B flat. So that's kind of the way you can think of it. A minor would be a C natural. D7 would be F sharp. So that is something that's not super easy to do without going slow. So you got to go slow. And then finally, number 4, the 4th focus point. So we have form, we have the 2 different 2-5-1s. A focus, the only reason why there's a star on that one, other than that it's going into the bridge, is that it's different. It's just one. It's two pieces of material versus one. Okay, then number 4, pattern. That's the standard 251 vocabulary direction number 1. So that just kind of gives it a name. Now, I guess a big prerequisite for all of this lingo would be our vocabulary. You know, the way I'm talking about jazz is to know what a 251 is, and that's the easiest way to explain it is you have a 1 chord, the very first chord in a tune, you know, the root. So we're in the key of G, which is concert F in this case. And you think of the G major scale. Then you have all 8 notes, right? 7 different notes of the major scale. If you put a number on them, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then, so to find what a 251 is, if we're in the key of G, in our case, concert F, key of G, A minor is 2, D7 is 5, and G major, the triangle, is 1. So there's 251. So, you know, you'll learn a lot of this through osmosis. You don't have to know everything right off the bat. And it's kind of cool how quickly your brain kind of grasps it. And hopefully what I've given you is, depending on what type of learner you are, you know, a few different ways to think about it. So we have the accompanying video, we've got the materials you're looking at, and then you get to hear the sounds. And then I would practice writing these things out. We can talk about bracketing here in a minute. I've bracketed the D minor to G7 to C major chord, the other 251. That goes into the B section, the bridge. So that way you can see it. Okay, so anyways, note that that's the 2 going to the 5 to the 1. And that's the main stuff you've got to find in this, the main sound too. So I'm going to go ahead and play study number 1 with this track here. Remember we're 150, so we're under tempo. And top 2, ready, we got rest 2, 3. This is the intro, 2, 3, 2. Here's A section, solo section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Here I come in. Rest 2, 3. Now to the star material. Rest 2. So I'm not practicing anything on the bridge because I'm only focusing on this 1 chord sequence here. That's the 6th measure right here. Last part. We reached the last A. At the top, 2, 2, 3. Rest 2, ready, go. Going into the bridge, 251. 1, 2. So we want to internalize these 8 measures of the bridge. 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6. Last measure. We're in the last A section. And we hold. Okay, so you can see what we're working on here. Form, and then a pattern. Just focusing on arpeggiating the chord and sounding good over it and putting them in the right spot. So that's study number 1. So with a little bit of diligence, you'll get that. But the main thing is, like, if you even memorize it and you can kind of hear the sequence, you'll definitely want to practice with the play along track. You know, of course you do. But anyways, doing it without having someone comping the chords or playing with the track with the bass and all of that is, you're still learning a whole lot of things, and it kind of shows you the tune structure. You can be the bass player, you can be the drummer, you can play the harmony. Okay, now we're on to study number 2. We got focus points at the bottom, 3 of them. Number 1, again, form. I cannot express enough how important that is and why, you know. You got to know the form, you got to know where the bridge is, you got to see the differences between the slight differences between the first A section, the second A section, and the final A section, and then getting all of that, you know, into your playing. So now what we're looking at are the same 2-5-1s again, mostly the A minor to D7 to G. That's just the structure of the tune. It's mostly in the key of G, right? So then, again, speaking in saxophone pitch, tenor saxophone. So it's concert F. Okay, and then the final point here, the new pattern is added plus the old one. So I've mixed it up where we've got and then this new one. Or okay, so I call that 2-5-1 another direction because it's going another direction. So we've got old pattern versus new pattern. Now you've got 2 different patterns. The second one does have a variation, an octave split kind of sound, and they sound kind of cool. Let me do the other one, the D minor to G7 to C, going into the bridge. That's pretty cool, right? And I've only given the option here to go up. Okay. So again, we're not purposely avoiding all those chords on the bridge, but we are at this point. We're focusing on, you know, keeping our place, understanding the A section 2-5-1s, the core of it, G major. Next big important thing to talk about. We've got, when we talk about 2-5-1s, A minor to D7 to G. Note that we end the pattern on, or the line, on the 3rd. So the chord is when you arpeggiate it. We're ending on the 3rd. The new pattern that I've introduced ends on the 5th. So we end on the 5th. So we're targeting different notes. The first pattern, we are targeting the 3rd. In the second pattern, we are targeting the 5th. Okay, so I'll go ahead and play this one with the track. 1, 2, 4-bar intro, very important. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 3. Here's the first A section now. Solo section. 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. Targeting the 5th. Targeting the 3rd again. Going into the bridge. Targeted the 5th there. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3. So you got this 8-bar phrase. Music at the beginning and the end of the line. Here we go. Back to the top, right? The A. So we repeat it. Yeah. 2, 3, 4. Going into the bridge. Yeah, so the lines are all quarter notes, unless the chords are moving in half notes like this one, it'll be 8th notes. 1, 2, 3. Back to quarter note movement. Second inning. And we hold into the tune. Okay, so now we move on to a bridge study before we go to study number 3. So we get to talk about the bridge, probably the most important information in here, but you have to have the A sections kind of under your belt. So now that we do in two different variants of a 2-5-1 study, now we're looking at using that same original study and just focusing on the B section, the bridge. So we've got measure 21, the B section. You rest for one measure, and then you play. So these chords move really fast, you know, so that's why you want to practice these slowly, which is indicated below. So you have B flat minor to E flat 7 to A flat major. The triangle is the major chord. Again, thinking of scale degrees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we're in the key of A flat major, B flat minor, B flat is the second note, that's the 2, and then it goes to the 5 chord and then to the 1. So you can find these by finding scale degrees in the music. When you're looking at chord changes, you can see that the major chord at the end, you know, if you look a couple of chords back, you may find a 2-5-1. It's pretty awesome, right? And that's what bracketing is all about. We'll get to that later, like I said. So, if I play this in time, it sounds like this. 1, 2, ready, and rest, 2, 3. Right? Okay, then we practice them slowly with no met. Might have to go slower than that. So you can see that at the when you move to the 5 chord, the first note of that pattern is the third of the chord. And then you land on the third. So a whole lot of targeting. That's what all this is. If you want to add the second pattern to it, another direction, you can do that slowly. Or where you break the octave. Okay? So you'll want to spend more time on that because that bridge is tough. You know, like it's only 2-5-1s, but the keys that they go to, A flat and R key and E are not easy. And then hearing them and playing vocabulary over them, you've got to go really slow, and that's why we're focusing on 2 patterns for now, 2 like little study points. Okay, now we're on the next page, study number 3. This one's just going to go one time through the form, just to, you know, sort of save time. So focus points at the bottom, we got to start with those. Number 1, the form. See a pattern here, right? Number 2, we've got 2 different 2-5-1s. Still using the same standard pattern, but we're going to go ahead and add the bridge, and those are all 8th note movements, so it moves really fast as I've indicated here on the 3rd point. Those are B flat minor to E flat 7, storming. B flat minor to E flat 7 to A flat major, and then F sharp to B to E is the other 2-5-1. If you want to make a study number 4, I put that on here, it's independent. You just apply the other pattern that you learned, the another direction line. There it is. You want to apply that through the whole thing while looking at chords rather than looking at music. So that's just something that you can do. Once you've done this enough times, you'll kind of want to do that. I think you'll want to kind of change it up. So it's good to be staying disciplined like you are for now. Okay, so here's me playing through this. Still at 150. So here's the intro to ready and 1, 2, 4-bar intro. Very important to internalizing the form. Here's the top. A, 2, 3, 2. Going into the bridge. That's just one time through to save time. All right, so it's a lot there, isn't there? But you know, it's the same kind of idea. You're just practicing it in different keys. At this point now, you've practiced it in 4 different keys, right? 4 different keys. Okay, now we're on study number 5. It says here there's only one minor 2-5-1 that's indicated here. So I've indicated how you can find what that is. And the minor 2-5-1 is indicated by the first chord being a half diminished chord. So you've got B with a circle and a slash through it. That just means half diminished. So you, the difference between a major 2-5-1, which we've just learned, is this one, instead of landing on a major chord, lands on a minor chord. So that's why it's called a minor 2-5-1. And I've indicated what measures you can find this this chord, you know, the minor 2-5-1 in, and that's measure 6 and 7, measure 14 and 15, and measure 30 and 31. So, you know, what we're doing, we're really kind of analyzing this in its overall scope, and then we're dissecting like little sections. We want to connect all the dots. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So you have a general idea, which is really important, and then you have just little things